In our previous video, we have posted the asset accounting documents, and we have seen that the document was posted with two document types, that is, one is for asset accounting and one is for operational document, which is a document type KR. So, and also it has posted another document for IF ledger. So let us see little bit in detail and understand the process, how it has created the three documents while posting the asset accounting documents. Actually it is two documents for ledgers, one for leading ledger 0L and another for IF ledger, that is in standard ledger, and one common document for both the ledgers, which is an operational document. So let us again check how it is posted and move on to our next process of the asset accounting configuration. So once we open the document, we can see the data entry view of this document. So this is 0L ledger, and we can see two displays. One is general ledger view display and also asset accounting view display. So if we click on general ledger view display, it will be the same 0L ledger, and it is similar to data entry view. And if we check, okay, we can even check IF ledger, because we know it is the ledger we have posted. So let us check IF ledger. So we discussed that the IF ledger document number is totally different. First we will understand how the document numbers are configured for the different ledgers. So for leading ledger, the document types will be the normal standard ones. So here it is. If we take AA, the number range is 01. So this will be for leading ledgers. The normal document types which we defined here will be for leading ledgers. For standard ledgers, for non-leading ledgers, or for non-leading standard ledgers, or for non-leading ledgers, if we see here for 0L, this is a leading ledger, you don't find it gives an function not permitted for leading ledgers. So it allows only for non-leading ledgers. So if we give here IF, we can see that in the previous video we got an error message stating that for IF asset accounting the number range is Z1. Even we got the Z1 interval is not maintained when we are posting the transactions in our previous video. So we have maintained Z1 number range. And what is the other one? Z1 AA and KR both have Z1 number range. Okay, so this is where the number range is maintained for non-leading ledgers. So This is document number ranges, and here for S4HA, if we see, it is 01. So this is the last document which we have posted. So if we go back, we can see this is the document, AA document, which we have posted for our leading ledger, and Z1, this is the one which we created. So 930 is the one which we created for non-leading ledger. So we can see only the operational document and the leading ledger asset accounting document. So how we can check the non-leading ledger asset accounting document? Let us check on that. So remember that there will be 3 documents, means like one is a common document for both the ledgers, for leading ledger and for non-leading ledger. This is the common document. KR is the common operational document for both the ledgers, leading and non-leading, and this is the one for leading asset accounting document for leading ledger 0L. If we see, we can see this is for 0L. And now we need to check how we can check the non-leading ledger asset accounting document. So the main thing to understand is the document KR is common for both the ledgers, but document type AA will be posted individually in each of the ledgers. So the document numbers here we see is this is for 0L, and this is the common document, and for IF we know the document posted was defined document. We know this is the one, but we need to figure out where to check that. So it is Z1. This is the document which was posted. So let us figure out where to check this document. So when we check in the document list, we can see the 2 document types. One is KR and one is AA, and also the document numbers which was posted in our previous video for asset accounting. So one is operational document and one is valuation specific document. So there should be one more valuation specific document, and let us now see where we can check that document. When we double click on the operational specific document, normally we know, like even in ACC, if we need to check the associated documents to that particular document, we will go to environment, document environment, and the accounting documents. Here we can see all the documents associated to that main document. So we can see here there is one operational document which doesn't have the ledger group. That means it is common to both the ledgers, and 2 valuation specific document, one for each ledger. So from this we understand that it will be one common document for all the one common operational document for all the ledgers, and the same number of ledger documents based on the number of ledgers which was configured in our system. So we configured two ledgers, so we have two documents, two valuation specific documents and one operation document. So if we see this, the operation documents consist of vendor and the technical clearing account, and the document header is KR, right? So this is the vendor specific related document, and if we see the other ledgers, so the technical clearing account 2001 is the technical clearing account. There it is debit, here they are crediting it and debiting the asset account. If we remember 2002 we have created and assigned to asset acquisition, so it is debiting because we are buying the asset, so it is getting debited in the leading ledger. The same entry we can see in the non-leading ledger for IF, but with a different document number. If we see here, the technical clearing account, even here it is the same entry. It is the technical clearing account is credit and the asset account is getting debited. This is the main difference when compared to ECC and SAP S/4HANA. So each and every ledger will have its own real-time documents. So if this is an asset transaction, if we check this, it shows the asset value date, it is on June 9th, and amount posted and transaction type and external acquisition, external asset acquisition. So it gives all the details. So we can see all the documents updated in this list. So now let us see AW01N Asset Explorer. So the asset is 3000. Okay. So these are the depreciation areas in this asset. So it has two accounting principles. One is India GAAP and other is IFRS. IFIF, I have created it as IFIF, which is related to IFRS, and it has book depreciation and the parallel currency. So for each and everything we have created a separate depreciation areas, and even for IFRS we have created another depreciation area. Okay. So objects related to this asset, vendor is this one, cost center is expenses, GL account is cards. So if we see, these are the depreciation areas related to this asset. So how the depreciation gets calculated? If we see here, okay, 1 second. If we see here, the depreciation for IFRS is calculated as 2500 per year. So how this was calculated? We have given the useful life in the asset master as So if we see here depreciation areas, we can see the 01 depreciation area useful life of the asset is 5 years, and for IFRS it is 4 years, and for currency it is 5 years. So based on this, as we have given the useful life of the asset is 4 years, 10,000 divided by 4 is 2,500. In the same way, here it will be 2,000. These are the planned values. Okay. So, and we see the poster values. We can see the book depreciation is calculated as 166. This is planned. As per the plan, every month it will depreciate this. If we see this month, I think it has accumulated the depreciation for the previous months 1 and 2, and it has rounded up to 500. So if we see IFRS, we can see the depreciation is 208. Every month it will deduct that much depreciation from the asset. It is in dollars, right? So I think the group currency is totally different here. So even we can see in asset master, now the capitalized on field is updated with the date when we purchased the asset. Even the depreciation areas, if we see, the depreciation start date is updated automatically. It's from April 1st. So if there is a scenario where we even need to add a freight while purchasing the asset. So we purchased the asset for 10,000 both in both the ledgers, right? We purchased the asset for 10,000 in India GAAP and also IF. So while purchasing the asset, we paid freight of 1,000. Paid freight of 1,000 rupees. Can we add this to cost of asset or not? So whether can we add this to cost of asset, or just we will keep it as expenses. So that depends on the accounting principle, depends on the accounting principles rules. So actually it depends on the accounting principle whether the freight needs to be added to the cost of the asset or not. So in India, GAAP means like in 0L, not allowed. It is not allowed to add the freight, not allowed to add freight to the cost of asset. But in IFRS, they will allow the cost, even the freight, as allow the freight to be included in the cost of asset. So in this case, what we should do, we need to post additional 1000. This case we need to post additional 1000 rupees in IFRS. So how we can do this? How we can post only to the particular GL? Sorry, not particular GL, particular ledger. How we can post extra amount to that particular ledger? So how we can achieve this? So if we see, when we post the asset posting, we will enter transaction type, right? So we can create our own transaction types, and in the settings we can specify that this transaction type is allowed only to this particular ledger. So that we do it in the configuration. So when we give that particular transaction type, it will be posted only to that particular ledger. So let us see where we do that configuration in the path. So we discussed we need to post additional 1000 rupees to IF depreciation area. How can we do this? So in ECC, actually there was an in ECC, how they were doing is like, it will be controlled through transaction type. Okay, so we will assign this depreciation area to that transaction type, saying that to only this depreciation area will be allowed to this particular transaction type. So seems we can create transaction types for us acquisition, retirement, transfer, and everything in different transaction codes. This is for okay, it seems A is not A0, it's AO73. Okay, yeah, okay, just we will display it. So here we can see the transaction types. Okay, so for these transaction types, I don't see any new entries here. I don't, because no more new entries can be created. Okay, let me check it is in, okay, because it is in locked status. Let me come out of other transactions. Exit, and let me even exit from all the things, and let us go to that screen and check whether new entries is new transaction type is allowed for creation. So what is the transaction code? Is 073. Okay, now we can see the new entries here. So we can create the transaction type just to allow only the depreciation area which we are thinking to post to that particular transaction type. So we can, I am actually talking the concept of ECC, and after creating the transaction type, it seems in OAYA we were depreciation area specification. So it seems we can add the depreciation area which will be allowed in this transaction type. So we can see here this external asset acquisition. Okay, so in this way we are actually restricting the depreciation areas to particular transaction types. So if we want to post to the particular depreciation area, we are controlling through transaction types in ECC. So now let us check on how they are doing it in SAP S/4HANA. So once we are done with the transaction type configuration for that particular depreciation area, the posting will be done through AB01 in ECC. So we will give the transaction type which we have created, and we move on to the posting. So in SAP S/4HANA we are going to do the transaction AB01L. So even though we are giving AB01, it is it seems it is redirecting to AB01L. So let me check. So now let us try to post the extra freight amount through transaction AB01L. So as it is acquisition, let us give transaction type 100, and our accounting principle is IFIF. Document date and set value date. Enter posting amount, we are posting 1000, and asset value date, I remember it as 9th, right? So let us give it as 9th. Okay, and okay, if this posting needs to be done, how actually this posting will be created, what will be the debit and what will be the credit. So the asset amount needs to be debited, and actually normally we are crediting the vendor. Here vendor will be totally different, and we are, so for that purpose we are going to create a contra entry clearing account, which is a contra account. So it will give the error when we try to post it. Let me simulate this. So if we simulate it, it is showing account contra account acquisition could not be found for area 02, error when creating the document. So now we try to create the contra account and assign it in our A090 configuration, and then we try to post this transaction. So here we are trying to post only to the depreciation area 2. Okay, now let us create the contra GL account which is required. Okay, so /fs00, and before our account is 2002, let us now create it as 2003, and balance sheet account group, and it's in contra account, and in control data, don't think it is a reconciliation account. And field status group is asset accounts. Okay, let us try to save it. It's 2003. Now let us move on to A090, and is for HANA, and vehicles, and balance sheet accounts. So we are going to assign it to IFRS, right? Position the cursor on a valid entry. Okay, what's it mean? So once we select this, we need to click on details, so it will open up, and contra account is 2003. So this account will be credit and this account will be debit. So let us save this and move on to so we will move on to the transaction which we were trying to post. Now we try to simulate it. So now we can see this is getting credited and this is getting debited, and let us now try to post it. So asset transaction was posted with document number 93001 in accounting principle IF. So there is no question of which account, operational account or valuation specific documents. This is directly an asset transaction where we are directly posting to the specific ledger. Okay, now let us move on and check the asset explorer, how this 1000 was added to the asset acquisition value. So now if we check asset explorer, and in the IFRS we can see the APC transaction is level 11,000, and the depreciation is automatically changed from 2500 to 2750, and even here we can see the amounts is one is 10,000 and another is 1000, and if we see the book depreciation we can see it is only 10,000 because we have posted directly to the IFRS. So AB01L is the transaction to post specifically to the particular ledger. So now let us move on and see how we can do the depreciation run. So to move on with the depreciation run, let us create the required GL accounts and assign it in the account determination. So let us move on and create the expense GL account for the depreciation and balance sheet GL account for the accumulated depreciation. So FS00 and 2004, and we created, and the GL account balance sheet and accumulated depreciation. Okay, and accumulated depreciation, accumulated depreciation, and so accumulated depreciation will be in the reconciliation account, and field status group is asset accounts and sale. And now we will be creating the expense GL account. So 4001 and create. Now we are going to, it is in specify primary costs are revenue. So this will go to the depreciation is an operating cost, and will go to the profit and loss account. Depreciation, okay, vehicles, then INR cost element category. Because it is a profit and loss account, we need to specify the cost element category 01, and for depreciation it is in cost accounts. Let's see. So now we go and try to assign this to our configuration. Okay, we are already in that, and move on to this, and accumulated depreciation account we created is 2004, and expense GL account we have created is 4001, and these are other things are for other thing, unplanned depreciation and transfer of some other things. So let us save it. So one more thing to understand here about depreciation is, if we want to post the depreciation even to cost center, there is one more configuration where we can do that, like financial accounting, asset accounting, integration with general ledger accounting, and additional account assignment objects. Specify account assignment types for account assignment objects. Account assignment types for account assignment objects. So depreciation area, for that company code, and for the book depreciation we are going to assign the account assignment objects for account assignment type. So new entries, account assignment object, we are actually thinking of to add cost center and star for all the transaction types, and account assignment type APC value postings, and one more for depreciation run, cost center for all transaction types, and one more thing for depreciation run. So if we add this setting, even it will transfer the values to the cost center. So even I did the two check boxes, account assignment, and save it. And we have two more depreciation areas. Do we think we need the cost center for this depreciation areas? Normally it is no, like only the book depreciation postings will be transferred to the cost center, not the other depreciation area postings. So it is not required for IFRS and group currency. So this is the screen for running the depreciation AFAB, and you can see the compared to ECC the screen will be little bit different. In ECC we can see even there were options for repeat run, whether it is an what is that, there are different kinds of run, right? Whether it is a special run or whether it is a repeat run, there are different kinds of runs when in ECC, but in SAP S4 HANA it was not required. If the system itself will identify whether it is a repeat run or whether it is an fresh run or whether it is a special run. So it was designed in that way. So now let us try to do the posting. So this is totals log and detail log, and ECC also we can see that after posting the depreciation we will list all the assets to check which are all the assets are posted with depreciation. So if we select this detailed log, even we can check the detailed values for those assets. So if we execute it, we will get lot of errors. We will fix one by one, and we can see here create document number range 03 using internal number assignment. Okay, let us move on, and it is 03 S4 HA edit intervals, and 03 it is marked as external. Let us change it to internal, and if we execute again, the error message went off and we see there were no assets processed. Is that we need to specify the assets? No, right? But why don't we see the okay. When we initially gave posting period as 1, no assets were shown in the list when we executed this transaction, because already we are in um, period 3 and even the assets which we created are in period 3. So we have to specify the posting period 3 and try to execute the transaction. Now we can see the accounting principle. IF and IF is fine, and fixed asset with errors. So but account accumulated depreciation for ordinary depreciation could not be found. So we have to give the what is the GL accounts for the depreciation postings. So now let us move on to AO 90 transaction. So now we are assigning the GL value, depreciation GLs to the ordinary depreciation. So let us move on, and if we see here, so accumulated depreciation it is 2004 and expenses 4001, and save it, and now try to run the depreciation. So go back and now execute it, and now we can see both are in green. So if you remember the path, it is in financial accounting global settings, and document type, define document types for in a ledger. So for ledger IF, we can see AF is already defined and it is assigned to Z1. Okay, so we don't have any issues with the document type which needs to be posted. So we can see the cost center is populated to only the leading ledger but not to the non-leading ledger. So now let us go back and remove the test run and try to execute. Asset selections only allowed in test run. I came out of the screen and again running the transaction by removing the test run, and I'm fill out all required fields. Okay, this processing can only be carried out as background for processing. We cannot execute this transaction in foreground, we have to do it only in background. So I have to run this program in background. So if we want to do immediate, we can do it immediate and as per our requirement. And we click on save. So we can see the background job was scheduled for program FAA depreciation post. So if we want to check whether the depreciation is posted or not, we will go to Asset Explorer, and if we check the depreciation and the posted values, you can see the depreciation was posted. Even in IFRS, you can see the depreciation is posted. So if again we need to check the line items posted in this document. So AF is the document type which we just posted for depreciation. You can see the line items posted is in the depreciation account debit and accumulated depreciation account credit, and it is posted to 0L. And if we need to check to the ledger group IF, we need to check in other place, and we can see the all the accounting documents related to this, because there is a cost center related to this depreciation posting. A cryptic document of controlling document is created. So in FB03 itself, we can check the documents which was posted even in non-leading ledger. So if we click here, we can see all the documents which was posted even in non-leading ledger. We can see there were 2 asset documents and 1 depreciation document. So it was posted with the month end. Actually it is a month end activity, so it has posted with the month end dates. And this one we have posted one contra account for 1000, and this one which is an asset acquisition. So this is how we can check the documents which were posted to the leading ledger and non-leading ledgers. So in our next video we will check on how we can do the retirement and all, and finish the asset accounting concept with the next video. Thank you so much.